A very good morning to all my dear students. Welcome back to the second class of the online session 2020-2021. Today I am back with a new topic of the chapter Air Expands on Heating. Before I start with this chapter, with this topic, let us have a quick recapitulation of what we did yesterday. Yes, yesterday we had studied about air, atmospheric pressure, we have studied about air exerts pressure, the different applications in our day-to-day life based on air exerts pressure, isn't it? I'm sure all of you must have gone through it and there is no problem in this particular portion. So let me begin with the next portion of the chapter, air expands on heating. Okay. What is the meaning of air expands on heating? Air expands on heating means when you are heating air, air occupies more space. Its volume increases. It occupies more space. Okay, as a result, when it tries to occupy more space, the molecules present in air, they start vibrating faster. They get lots of heat energy. They start vibrating faster when you are applying lots of heat. And as a result, they collide with each other and they move away from each other. Okay, so they try to occupy more space, their volume increases, they become lighter. They become lighter and so they try to rise up. Okay, so air expands on heating. So remember, this is very important. Whenever you heat air, it expands, it becomes lighter and it rises up. Okay, very simple example based on this. You must have noticed that smoke, okay, the smoke that is emitted from the automobile, smokes which is emitted in our kitchen and all, they all actually move in the upward direction because smoke is somewhat associated with hot air also, isn't it? Along with the other particles, they are associated with warm air, and warm air being lighter always tries to rise up. Got it? Another thing, another example, hot air balloons. You have seen hot air balloons? Hot air balloons are also based on this particular, property you can say. That is, whenever, there is lot of air which is heated, okay, it makes the balloon lighter. That is what happens. Air expands on heating, it becomes lighter and as a result, the balloon also rises up. A very common example I will give you. That is during Diwali. All of you have lit a paper lantern. Yes or no? Yes. We call it commonly fanush, isn't it? Those paper lanterns, how do they, get blown away? How do they fly? You can send them high up in the sky. It is all because of air expansion, the expansion of air on heating. You apply, fire. You apply fire, okay, with the help of a matchstick, and then you find there is lot of fire produced, and this fire, keeps on, heating the air which is present inside that paper lantern. And when the air gets heated up, the paper lantern becomes lighter because warm air is lighter and it rises up. As a result, the paper lantern also rises up high up in the sky because it becomes lighter, isn't it? So this is a very common example that we all have tried during Diwalis, isn't it? So this is an example based on air expands on heating. There is an activity that is given in your book and I want everyone to go through that activity. I am showing this activity to you, I am explaining it to you here on the board. All of you look here, okay? You have a tube and what do? You cover the top of the tube with a rubber balloon, okay, which is totally deflated. So there is a rubber balloon like this. You have covered the top with this rubber balloon. Initially you find the rubber balloon is not at all inflated, okay. Now what do? in the next diagram you can see I am going to place this test tube. This is known as the test tube. So there is air inside the tube. I am going to place this test tube inside a beaker having water. And I am going to heat this water. Okay. Either I will heat the water or else I am going to place this test tube inside a beaker containing hot water. So when I am placing it inside a beaker containing hot water, the air inside the test tube becomes lighter, it becomes warmer, it becomes lighter, and do you know what will happen to the rubber balloon? This rubber balloon will become inflated. It will no longer be like this, it is going to be like this. You all can try it. Okay, so this will be inflated like this. So why will the rubber balloon get inflated? It is because this air inside becomes, warm. It rises up. When it tries to rise up, this rubber balloon will become inflated. It tries to rise up because warm air is lighter. Always remember that warm air expands, or air expands on heating, becomes lighter and always tries to rise up. As a result, this balloon will also become inflated. Okay, you are going to find this activity given in your book. Please read out this activity. Okay, there is another activity. I hope this one is clear. There is another activity, okay, where you are going to take two paper bags like this. You are going to hang two paper bags upside down. Upside down means you can understand like this, inverted, at the same level. I have drawn it, it is not exactly at the same level, like this. Okay, it is upside down. So the opening portion will be at the bottom. So these are the two paper bags I have taken. Initially, both the paper bags are at the same level. Initially, you can see both the paper bags are at the same level. Now, what am I going to do? I am going to heat one of the paper bags. Under one of the paper bag, I can place a candle and I can heat it. Can you tell me what will be your observation after some time? Yes, you are correct. Let us go through the observation. If I draw another diagram, you will find that the paper bag will be like this. It's going to be like this. One will rise up and the other one is going to come down. So this particular thing will be tilted. This particular, thing will be somewhat tilted. This paper bag will rise up, the other one will come down. What is the reason? Since you have placed the candle here below the paper bag 1, okay, so the air above this becomes lighter, it tries to rise up. So when it tries to rise up, this paper bag also actually rises up, and the second one, since it is cooler, so it comes down. Warm air is lighter, but cold air is heavier. Remember that cold air always sinks. It is always at the bottom and warm air is always at the top. That is why we should always buy houses having proper, windows as well as ventilators. Windows as well as ventilators. The reason is that through the windows, fresh air will come inside the room, and through the ventilator, the stale air will go out, the warm air. When we are inside a room, we are constantly, breathing, and we are giving out the air which is warm. So warm air being lighter, it is going to rise up and go out through the ventilators which are present somewhere located near the roof. Isn't it? Somewhere at the top of the walls. So they are going to go out through the ventilators, and cold and fresh air will come in through the windows. Is it clear? So you should always have houses, or if you want to buy a new house, you should always see that they have well ventilators and they even have windows also. Got it? So both are very essential. Otherwise, the room becomes very stuffy. Okay, you will have lots of problems, because you should allow the stale air to go out of your room so that fresh air can easily enter your room. So there should be a circulation, proper circulation of fresh air. Okay, So this is an example, another example based on air expands on heating. I hope you have understood this activity. So there are two activities given in your book which are related to the topic air expands on heating. So remember children, whenever you are heating air, the volume of air increases because the particles, they constantly gain lots of energy, heat energy, they become agitated, they vibrate fast, and as a result they collide with each other, they try to move away from each other, and when they move away from each other they try to occupy more space, and when they occupy more space the volume increases. As a result, what happens, the air becomes lighter, it rises up. Okay, warm air is always lighter, it rises up, and cold air is always heavier, it sinks at the bottom. So this is something very important. Moving on with the next topic of the chapter, that is how wind is produced. How wind is produced. I have already discussed that what is wind. Moving air is called wind, and I have told you that wind or air moves from a region of high pressure to a region of low pressure always. Okay. One more thing, important thing I forgot to tell you, that when I was discussing about the atmospheric pressure, remember air exerts pressure in all directions, upward, downward, sideways, in all directions air exerts pressure. Okay, but as you go up with altitude, that means with height, if you go to mountainous areas, you will find the atmospheric pressure starts decreasing because the column of air also starts decreasing. Okay, as you come towards the sea level, the atmospheric pressure increases, because if you go up, air becomes thinner. Thinner air means atmospheric pressure is also less. Got it? So if you go to higher altitudes, we can feel the pressure difference, because inside our body also there is blood pressure. Okay, so if inside your body the blood pressure becomes more than the outside atmospheric pressure, you start feeling problems. You start feeling those feel like nausea, vomiting. Then sometimes there can be bursting of veins also. Okay, especially to very high altitudes, especially people those who move to climb Mount Everest and all those places where the column of air is very less, air is very thin at those places. So moving on to the main thing, that is how wind is produced. So what causes the movement of wind? As I told you, air moves from a region of high pressure to a region of low pressure always. Now what causes this movement? What causes this pressure difference? Isn't it? It is mainly because of uneven heating of different regions of the earth. Uneven heating of different regions of the earth causes this difference in the pressure. Okay, as I told you that when air gets heated up, it becomes lighter and it rises up. So when air rises up, that particular region becomes a region of low pressure. Remember, warm air is always lighter. When it rises up, it becomes an area of low pressure. So cold air from other regions, they try to rush towards those low pressure area, from high pressure to low pressure. So this causes the movement of air, which is known as wind. So there are basically two situations on which you can say that movement of air is caused, that is wind. One is uneven heating of different regions of the earth, like the equator and the poles. And second is uneven heating of land and ocean. So what are the two situations I told you? One is uneven heating of different regions of the earth, that is equator and poles. Another is uneven heating of land and ocean. So one by one I'll explain this to you. Okay, before this, first I'm going to explain you the first point, uneven heating of different regions of the earth. So I'm going to draw a diagram of the earth like this. Okay, and I am going to draw few latitudes. I hope all of you know that equator, that is this 0 degree latitude. Equator divides the earth into two halves, and this is North pole, so 90° north latitude, 90° south latitude. Okay, and I am going to divide these two like this. One is 30° north, this is 60° north, this is 30° south, this is 60° south. So this is the upper hemisphere, the northern hemisphere, this is the southern hemisphere of the earth. So I have divided the earth like this for your understanding. Can you tell me, out of all these latitudes, which particular region of the earth receives maximum amount of sun's heat? Yes, it is the equator. The equatorial region is, very close to the sun. The equatorial region is very close to the sun, and this is the equator which receives maximum amount of sun's heat. It receives maximum amount of sun's heat. As a result, compared to the other areas, the poles and all, the equator is very warm, very hot. So being warmer, this region is actually what? Being warmer, the air is warm air, it's lighter, so warm air will rise up. If the air from the equator will rise up, compared to the equator, 30° north, 30° south is cooler. So being cooler, air will rush like this from 30° north to 0° and 30° south to 0° like this. So from high pressure, it is moving to low pressure. That means 0° is actually an area of low pressure. So high pressure areas, winds are moving from high pressure to low pressure. Did you understand? Coming to 60°. Compared to 60° and 90°, 90° means the poles. Poles are extremely cold areas. That means the air pressure is also high at the poles compared to 60°. So here also from high pressure to low pressure. Compared to 30 and 60 also you can find 60 is high. So high to low. Okay, so can you see the movement, the direction of the wind? You must have noticed one thing, that the wind direction that I am drawing, I am not drawing directly from north to south. I am drawing the direction in a tilted manner. This is because of the rotation of the earth. Since the earth is rotating, the winds are not blowing exactly straight from north to south. They are actually moving in a tilted manner. Can you see? So this is how the movement of the wind takes place due to uneven heating of equator and poles. Due to uneven heating of equator and poles. So this is the first case. The second one is uneven heating of land and ocean. This part you had done somewhat little bit in the last class also, that is in the last chapter, in the heat chapter I think, when you were studying about land and sea breeze. So here also you can relate. So let us divide the seasons like summer and winter. During the summer season, land becomes much more warmer than the oceans. So being warmer, so land becomes an area of low pressure. As a result, during summer season, air or wind blows from high pressure, that is from the ocean towards the land. So when it blows from ocean towards the land, this wind carries lots of moisture along with it. Lots of moisture along with it. Remember, during the summer season, wind blows from the ocean towards the land. These winds are called monsoon winds. What are they called? Monsoon winds. And these winds that are blowing from southwest direction, they carry lots of moisture from the Indian Ocean towards the land. So they bring lots of rainfall. And this rainfall is very important, because for the farmers, those who are growing crops, because most of the annual rainfall depends on this, for irrigation purpose, the farmers are dependent on this monsoon winds, on this particular rainfall. Got it? So this is very important. Okay, so now let us talk about the winter season. What happens during the winter season? Just the opposite. Compared to the oceans, during the winters, land is much more cooler than the oceans. As a result, now land is at higher pressure than the oceans. So wind blows from the land towards the ocean. So when wind blows from land towards the ocean, it carries very little moisture along with it. So you must have noticed that winter seasons are usually dry. isn't it? And even if there is rainfall, rainfall is very less. Got it? So this is the main part, that uneven heating of land and ocean also creates a pressure difference, because of which wind blows from higher pressure to lower pressure. So this is very important. I hope I have made myself clear. All of you go through the lesson, read this particular portion again and again. I tell you the same thing. Please read it, solve the worksheets and send it to me. Okay? So thank you students, and have a good day.